So you just bought a $15 indie game. You have no idea what's going on. You're thrown into the world without any direction, without any sense. You just watched a bug jump off a cliff. What the fuck is going on? Well, I'm about to tell you. And to understand all of this, you have to go back to the beginning. And I'm not talking the beginning of the game. I'm talking the beginning before Hallownest. Because before Hallownest is where our game actually starts. And when the game starts, we are told nothing. And we discover the entire lore throughout lore tablets, throughout item descriptions, throughout boss descriptions, and it is a tangled web of mystery. Some of it's to be believed, some of it's not, and you have to make up your mind what you believe and what's real. And that is really the core of this game, and it is fantastic, guys. So let me take you before Hallownest began, before the setting of this game began. Because before this game began, the events that lead up to this game have unfolded already. In the beginning, there was the Radiance, and the Radiance was good. Her, along with the Moth tribe, had a home in what is now Hallownest. Along with the Radiance, and the Radiance is a god, there were other gods. There was Un, and from Un's dream, she created Green Path. And with that Green Path, she also created all of the beings that inhabit it, the Mosskin. So you have gods living in harmony and creating worlds and life almost next to each other. And you also have denizens such as the Manus tribe living out their lives proud and free. But everybody was living with a basic mind, with basic pure instincts. And then a worm happened upon Hallownest. As it bore through mountains and over plains, it happened to find what would be Hallownest. And it stopped, and it stayed. And it, as a god, shed its godly form to take that of a lowly bug. And with it, he gave the insects that were there mind. He gave them the power to think. But with thinking came betrayal from the denizens of the Mothkin, from the Moth tribe. They turned their backs on their gods. They turned their backs on Un. They turned their backs on the Radiance. And they slowly began to forget about them and migrate to the Pale King. And under the Pale King's rule, life was great. It flourished. Hallownest itself flourished. However, there were some that did not accept the Pale King's rule. The denizens of Deep Nest rejected his rule. The Mantis tribe rejected his rule. However, the Mantis tribe was able to reach a truce, an alliance with the Pale King, because they knew he was going to be the ruling factor. And in return for a truce to stay separate, they fought and kept at bay the citizens of Deep Nest, who were always plunging forward. But good things always have to come to an end. And Hallownest is no exception. The Pale King sought to continue Hallownest forever, to have it live on through the ages. But there was a problem. There had already been gods here. There was Un. There was the Radiance. And while Un slowly slipped away into the fabric of time itself to slowly be forgotten, the Radiance would not. The Radiance, on the other hand, lived in dreams. And if you can remember her, she will live. And slowly the citizens of Hallownest began to remember. They remembered the light. They remembered the bug that was the Radiance. And she slowly crept into their dreams. And as she crept into their dreams, an infection spread. And the bugs of Hallownest would die. But that's not the end. Because as they died, they got back up. They got back up in an infected form, and they began to carry out the same task that they had been before they died. Cursed and destined to forever walk Hallownest as an infected form of themselves, trapped inside their own bodies, but having no control over their own actions. And the Pale King couldn't stand for that. He couldn't let that be. And so he hatched a plan. And that plan was to seal the Radiance away forever. And he did so by using his own children. You see, the Pale King had a wife, the White Lady. And with his wife, they created thousands or maybe even millions of kids. And these kids were all sacrificed to a substance that was hiding deep below Hallownest. Because like I said, there had been others before the Pale King, before Hallownest itself. And deep below Hallownest, there was an ancient civilization who prayed to a substance that was volatile, that was unknown, and that was death itself. They prayed to the void. And in the abyss, we can find void, a black, murky substance that takes on the form of a solid, a gas, and a liquid. It holds the shape of its container, and yet it also can do as it will. And this is where the Pale King found his hope. Because if this all-consuming void could be filled into the vessels that are his children, perhaps he could make a being that had no mind, no will. And he could instead place the Radiance there. He could lock her away for all of eternity. And so the wheels started turning. And his kids were sacrificed to the void in order to make a pure, perfect vessel. And one came out. One came out of that abyss. It rose above all of its siblings, and it was chosen. It was chosen to be the Hollow Knight. And the Pale King took that child and raised them to their prime form. And when the time came, he took the Radiance and he put the Radiance inside of his own child and locked his child away. But you see, that's not enough to stop a god. And so the Pale King put an extra seal of protection on. He took 3 citizens: Lurien, the Watcher, Monomon, the Teacher, and Hera, the Beast. And he put them into an eternal sleep to place a seal on the Black Egg, which is where the Hollow Knight is kept. So inside of a seal, you have a black egg. Inside of the black egg, you have the Hollow Knight. And inside of the Hollow Knight, you have the Radiance. But that did not stop the Radiance. For a time, things were good, and Hallownest still flourished. But slowly, as dreams and ideas will, the memory of the Radiance began to seep back into Hallownest, and the infection spread. And it went rampant. It spread to almost every corner of Hallownest. There was nothing anyone could do. And as all of the bugs turned to the Pale King to find out what they should do, the Pale King vanished. He left without a trace. We don't know where he is. We don't know where he is gone. And then you started the game. And you fell down a hole and started in King's Pass. because you are a vessel. And it is now your job to right the wrongs placed before you. And that is where your story starts.